Hi there, I'm Chris for TTCombat, and one of the questions I get asked regarding MDF scenery is how do you paint it? There's things on the market like MDF sealers, and I've never bothered with them. The first thing I do as soon as I get some MDF kits is I'll take like a damp cloth, I'll wipe it all down just to get rid of some of the residue that's on there, and then take it outside, spray paint it, hit it with 2 or 3 coats just to make sure it's got a good coverage, because with MDF it will soak some of the paint in. So I just make sure I give everything a good couple of blasts with that. And then when it comes to painting it, well, that's what I'm going to show you right now.
I'm going to be working on the Palazzo Magdalena by TTCombat from a Streets of Venice series. This set is made up of a few MDF sheets and a grey board sheet for detailing. I give everything a wipe with a damp cloth, leave to dry, then spray paint with grey. I've used a cheap grey spray paint and the TTCombat Sprue Grey spray paint on this kit, but it doesn't matter what brand you use. I usually do my scenery with an airbrush, then detail with a regular brush later. I find this to be a bit quicker to do that than just using a brush, but for this video I'll paint the basement with the brush and show you how I get a good effect with it. I'll mainly be using a foundation makeup brush. It's a large brush with soft bristles that I got cheap from Wilko's here in the UK. And using a dark grey to get the base coat down. Using circular motions with the brush we can get a nice and smooth colour build up for our base colour. Cover all the areas you're wanting painted for this piece. I'll be covering the whole area of the floor. After it's dried, using the same brush, unwashed even if it has some of the dark grey on it, we'll continue with circular motions with a light grey. This will give the area a bit of a tonal shift later. Here the circular motions help blend the colours, sort of like what we get with an airbrush. I also add further highlight to the bricks in the middle of the room, but you don't really need to do that. I've watered down some black wash and I just painted on. It'll darken the floor down, blending even further the paint we've used. It'll also go into the recesses, bringing out some of the detail for us. So the black wash has dried and I've taken off the walls from the sprue. I'll be painting them next and I've just dry fitted them to the floor piece. With each piece I complete, I dry fit it and make sure that there's no swelling of the MDF. Using the same techniques as for the floor, I'll be painting the walls. Now we'll weather this room up. Using brown and green washes, we're going to make a dirty mouldy effect. Watering down the washes and applying them over the top of each other and blending gives us a lot of tones and an excellent effect. You can always add water directly to the blend if you think the colour is a bit too strong. I also have some highly pigmented shaders from Ammo by Mig. These dry without tide marks, so I'm just using them to add more of a damp look to the previous washes. My thought for this building is that it's stood in the canals of Venice, giving the gondolas a docking point at the stairs, but also allowing foot traffic to use the stairs too. When the canals rise, the basement is then flooded, leaving us with water damage inside. We'll go even further with these ideas in the future. When it comes to the walls, I attach them onto the floor piece and line up the weathering with what I've done on the floor. That way I can have the mould on the wall and the floor match, so it looks like it's joined. After the washes are on and are drying, I dry fit the walls onto the floor piece again. I'm conscious of the risk of swelling due to the watered down washes I've just used, so it's just to be safe. The blending between the mould and the water damage effect and stonework, I think it looks great. Here I've painted the rest of the kit using both brush and airbrush. I applied the gloss varnish to the marble effect areas to give them a bit of a shine. But the story of this building is still to come.
So that's just the basics of what we can do with MDF scenery. In the next video, where I'm going to be looking a bit more in depth at MDF scenery and how we can take it a little bit further. So like me on Facebook. On Facebook I also have a store there now. There's just a couple of bits on there. Basically anything from that, it just gives me a couple of paints. It's not something I'm trying to make a living out of. It's just it tops my paints up a little bit. Instagram, I'm very active on Instagram and my Facebook page because they're linked together. You can see things that I'm doing ahead of videos. You can see just I'm doing in general, what I'm painting, games I'm playing, and just general thoughts on games that I am playing. And of course, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube here, ring the notification bell or whatever. If you didn't like the video, feel free to leave a dislike, tell me why you didn't like it, and I'll try and make my videos better for you. Thank you.